I'm serious that I think this may be the best group of contestants I have seen in the years that I've been doing this. I suppose that's bad for you. You'd rather have less competition, but it means that you're going to get the best you can. We'll go through the same thing again, and in the same order, and we'll take another break, and then we'll come back for one more round. Our first, as you remember, is from Milwaukee High School of the Arts, Claire Biglicki. She is here with her parents, Janet and Michael Biglicki. She says her favorite subject is, no, not poetry, biology. Claire Biglicki.
The Bad Old Days by Kenneth Rexroth. The summer of 1918, I read The Jungle and the Research Magnificent. That fall, my father died, and my aunt took me to Chicago to live. The first thing I did was to take a streetcar to the stockyards. In the winter afternoon, gritty and fetid, I walked through the filthy snow, through the squalid streets, looking shyly into the people's faces, those who were home in the daytime. Debauched and exhausted faces, starved and looted brains, faces like the faces in the senile and insane wards of charity hospitals, predatory faces of little children. Then, as the soiled twilight darkened, under the green gas lamps and the sputtering purple arc lamps, the faces of the men coming home from work, some still alive with the last pulse of hope or courage, some sly and bitter, some smart and silly, most of them already broken and empty, no life. Only blinding tiredness, worse than any tired animal. The sour smells of 1,000 suppers of fried potatoes and fried cabbage bled into the street. I was giddy and sick, and out of my misery I felt rising a terrible anger, and out of the anger an absolute vow. Today, the evil is clean and prosperous, but it is everywhere. You don't have to take a streetcar to find it. And it is the same evil. And the misery, and the anger, and the vow are the same.
Next, from Menominee High School, Rebecca Brunstad is here with Elizabeth Brunstad, and I think it's appropriate to note that she says her father, John, was her hero. Such a kind man. He taught me that success comes with great responsibility, and you need to be serious, but you also need to laugh. Rebecca Brunstad.
The Jabberwocky, Lewis Carroll. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the momaras outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the maxim foe he sought. So rested he by the tum-tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tugly wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumping back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy, afraid to stay, callooh, callay, he chortled in his joy. 'twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the borough groves, and the morass outgrave.
Elise Ditzler is here with David and Molly Ditzler, and I believe with Allison Johnson, teacher. Elise Ditzler is from Rhinelander High School.
Writing by Howard Nemerov. The cursive crawl, the squared off characters, these by themselves delight, even without a meaning. In a foreign language, in Chinese, for instance, or when skaters curve all day across the lake, scoring their white records in ice. Being intelligible, these winding ways with their audacities and delicate hesitations, they become miraculous so intimately. Out there, at the pen's point or brush's tip, do world and spirit wed. The small bones of the wrist balance against great skeletons of stars exactly. The blind bat surveys his way by echo alone. Still, the point of style is character. The universe induces a different tremor in every hand, from the check forgers to that of the Emperor Hui Sung, who called his own calligraphy the slender gold. A nervous man writes nervously of a nervous world, and so on. Miraculous. It is as though the world were a great writing. Having said so much, let us allow there is more to the world than writing. Continental faults are not bare, convoluted fissures in the brain. Not only must the skaters soon go home, also the hard inscription of their skates is scored across the open water, which long remembers nothing, neither wind nor wake.
Jack Greenwood.
The Destruction of Sennacherib by Lord Byron, George Gordon. The Assyrian came down like the wolf on the fold, and his cohorts were gleaming in purple and gold, and the sheen of their spears was like stars in the sea, when the blue wave rolls nightly on deep Galilee. Like the leaves in the forest when summer is green, that host with their banners at sunset were seen. Like the leaves of the forest when autumn hath blown, that host on the morrow lay withered and strown. For the angel of death spread his wings in the blast, and breathed in the face of the foe as he passed. And the eyes of the sleepers waxed deadly and chill, and their hearts but once heaved, and forever grew still. And there lay the steed with his nostril all wide, but through it there rolled not the breath of his pride, and the foam of his gasping lay white on the turf, and cold as the spray of the rock-beating surf. And there lay the rider, distorted and pale, with the dew on his brow and the rust on his mail. And the tents are all silent, the banners alone, the lances unlifted, the trumpet unblown. And the widows of Asher are loud in their wail, and the idols are broke in the temple of Baal. And the might of the Gentile, unsmote by the sword, hath melted like snow in the glance of the Lord.
Jordan Hayes is next from Durand High School. Says, My favorite subject changes from year to year. I sympathize with that. But it's mainly choir, where I can express myself through song and lyrics. How appropriate for poetry. Jordan Hayes.
Domestic Situation by Ernest Hilbert. Maybe you've heard about this, maybe not. A man came home and chucked his girlfriend's cat in the wood chipper. This really happened. Dinner wasn't ready on time. A lot of other little things went wrong. He spat on her father, who came out when he learned about it. He also broke her pinky, stole her checks, and got her sister pregnant. But she stood by him, stood strong through it all, because she loved him. She loved him, you see. She actually said that. And then she went and married him. She felt some unique call. Don't try to understand what another person means by love. Don't even bother.
Next, from Menominee High School, sophomore Rachel Rapella, who says one of her proudest moments was performing on the Guthrie stage as part of a summer class. And she's looking forward to singing at Carnegie Hall with the choir next month.
"13 Ways of Looking at a Blackbird," Wallace Stevens. 1. Among 20 snowy mountains, the only moving thing was the eye of the blackbird. 2. I was of 3 minds, like a tree, in which there are 3 blackbirds. 3. The blackbird whirled in the autumn winds. It was a small part of the pantomime. 4. A man and a woman are one. A man and a woman and a blackbird are one. 5. I do not know which to prefer, the beauty of inflections or the beauty of innuendos, the blackbird whistling, or just after. 6. Icicles filled the long window with barbaric glass. The shadow of the blackbird crossed it to and fro. The mood, traced in the shadow, an indecipherable cause. 7. O thin men of Haddam, why do you imagine golden birds? Do you not see how the blackbird walks around the feet of the women about you? 8. I know noble accents and lucid, inescapable rhythms, but I know too that the blackbird is involved in what I know. 9. When the blackbird flew out of sight, it marked the edge of one of many circles. 10. At the sight of blackbirds flying in the green light, even the bawds of euphony cry out sharply. 11. He rode over Connecticut in a glass coach. Once a fear pierced him in that he mistook the shadow of his equipage for blackbirds. 12. The river is moving. The blackbird must be flying. 13. It was evening all afternoon. It was snowing, and it was going to snow. The blackbird sat in the cedar limbs.